Red Lobster is on the verge of filing for bankruptcy. A Yahoo Finance article coming by way of Business Insider talks about the demise of Red Lobster is a perfect case study in how to kill a business. It says, with the chain on the verge of bankruptcy, it has become abundantly clear that Red Lobster, letting customers eat all the shrimp their hearts desire, like our friends here, was not a great business idea. It's also not the reason the restaurant is in a deep financial mess. So in mid-April, Bloomberg reported that the debt-laden seafood chain and home of the beloved cheddar biscuits, which I've never had, was considering filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Well, why? Because Red Lobster is being bogged down by increased labor costs and expensive leases on its restaurants. Some observers were quick to blame the financial woes on its decision last year to make its endless shrimp promotion, which used to be an occasional lifetime offering, permanent. A limited offering permanent. I'm like reading into it. The move was not a smart one. While Red Lobster increased traffic somewhat, people coming in to chow down on all-you-can-eat shrimp was a money bleeder. Last year, the company blamed endless shrimp for its $11 million losses in the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, the picture got even worse, with the restaurant chain seeing $12.5 million in little operating losses by way of those shrimp. But the story about what goes wrong with Red Lobster is much more complicated than a bunch of stoners pigging out on shrimp. This guy's going for it in his article. The brand has been plagued by various problems, waning customer interest, constant leadership turnover, has been in a common tale, and private equity meddling in the business. So been in bad leadership, bad marketing, not necessarily delivering the product experience that justifies you being in business and both satisfies the customer.
So I actually have a couple opinions on this. So my first one is the business model worked. It was an old hat business. As things have become increasingly expensive, there's some truth to what's being said.
Correct.
Second part of that, private equity came in. They probably had a strategic business plan to operate the company in a certain kind of way and exit in a certain kind of way. What private equity does not like is creative reinvention of the business without some sort of ability to build a financial model around it, right? Because sometimes in real entrepreneurship, I'm creating a business and I'm going into uncharted territory. So I'm actually operating a little bit off of instinct and gut with some educated risk taking in order to make that transition out of who we used to be into who we are now. Probably would have been a reinvention of the brand, a rethinking around who their target customer is, how to bring in a younger crowd who's probably the person that's probably going out to eat more often. And obviously just a restructuring of the way that they price their food and their meals, et cetera.
Yep.
And so you've seen a few businesses, a few restaurants do this. We've been talking about in the fast food world, it's happening quite a bit.
Right.
And so legacy companies, if you look at the business lifecycle chart over time, they reach maturity and then they go one of two ways, which is they either reinvent or they die. And so Red Lobster is dying because they didn't reinvent themselves. There's never a point where you're just like, the business is good. I don't need to worry about it anymore. We can just operate like this in perpetuity. Eventually, the market will shift. The generations will shift. The avatar will shift. The real estate will shift. The economy will shift.
Yeah.
And you will have to be ready to pivot. Most of them get caught flat-footed.
So is that the takeaway out there for our entrepreneurs listening, which is these ones who have been building their businesses? Maybe they're in a spot where they're somewhat coasting.
Yep. It is. It's also the opportunity. We talk a lot about buying businesses. There's a lot of these legacy companies that are coming to market for sale that you can step in and operate that are a little bit flat in the way that they've been running their business. And so coming in and reinventing the business quite a bit, adding technology, leveraging modern marketing techniques, building in better tools to track labor, cost, et cetera, are all things that you can do to add value to the business. So one man's pain is another man's profit. Hence why we're talking about it on the pod.
Mm-hmm. I dig it. Well, for the time being, get your endless shrimp while you still can, because it is definitely going away one way or another.
Well, Chapter 11, though, they can also, what they'll do is they'll restructure and then come back and buy it back under a new entity and potentially try to revive it. But I did see in that article, actually, as I was reading a little bit deeper, it said that they should be able to recoup enough of what they invested in the business on the real estate sale.
Yeah.
So theoretically, they might just unwind it and move on. That said, there's an Outback Steakhouse for sale up off Harmony, Fort Collins. It's been for sale for like 3 years and it hasn't sold. And so there's a lot of that restaurant retail space like that is not going anywhere. Nobody wants to buy it. Restaurants are the number one business that fails.
Yeah.
So they might have some trouble selling that real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sad to see the little guys go away, but I've never had the delicious cheddar biscuits.
Well, we better make a trip then.
We better. Just got to be careful. Just don't get anything on me. I'll watch you guys eat.
Oh, that's right. You're allergic to fish. That's why you haven't had those cheesy biscuits.
Yeah, dude.